Hey guys, in this video we are going to be using Ansible to automate the initial server setup on an Ubuntu server. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I already created a directory on my desktop where I'm going to be hosting all the files for Ansible. So in here I am going to open Sublime text editor. You can use whatever editor you want, but I like to use Sublime Text. So let's go ahead and start with this. The first file I'm going to do Control N that I'm going to be creating is going to be the host file. So basically this is where I'm going to be saving all the connections or all the servers that I'm going to be connecting to via Ansible. And let me take a look. Where is my my server should be in here. So here's the IP address of my server. It is 4563.6.129. All right. So in here we are going to be creating a group. You create a group by doing a bracket, and then the name in here is going to be servers, and then server 1 is going to be the server that I'm working with right now. So then you specify the host, right, the IP address. So I'm basically, what I said right here, I'm creating a group of servers, and my first server is a server 1, and the IP of it, the way that I'm identifying this is with an IP address. So I'm saying Ansible host equals to the IP address of my server. And you can have as many servers as you want over here. So if you wanted to create like server 2, you just say server 2, and then the IP address of server 2 right here. But since we're only working with one server, that's how we're going to have it. So that is set. That's what I'm going to have over here. So now I'm going to do the playbook, and an Ansible playbook is basically where you add all the tasks that are going to be executed on that server. And this one is going to be a YAML file. So this one, does this looks okay? A YAML file. So how do you specify this a YAML file? Is by doing 3 -, and that identifies as a YAML file. So now I'm going to say host over here, hosts, and I'm going to say so basically everything in my host file. So this playbook is going to be executed on all the hosts on my host file, but since I only have one, it's only going to be executed on server 1. All right, let's go ahead and save this, and let's just call this initial setup that YAML file. There we go. So that has been saved in here, and I'm going to continue with the playbook. So now what I want to say is become. So this become module or argument, what it means is that I want to elevate my privilege, right? So I want Ansible to run all the commands as a root user. So it's going to be using this. It's going to run as root user or as a sudo user. So it's going to become basically an administrator. That's what I'm telling it. And then I'm going to create a variable vars. And in here, I'm going to create a new user. So new _ user name. And the username is going to be El Jefe. All right. So that is great. So now I'm going to go back here, and now I'm going to be creating all my tasks. So tasks. First, I'm going to give it a name. So the names here is really good to have, because whenever Ansible is executed, it is going to be displaying, the name. Like for instance, the first one that I want to do is to set up the passwordless sudo. So I don't want to run, whenever I want to run sudo, I don't want it to ask me for the password. So therefore, I'm going to say to set up passwordless sudo. And whenever Ansible is running this task over here, what is going to happen is it is going to be displaying like set up passwordless sudo. But let's just say setting up setting up passwordless sudo. All right, so in here, I'm just going to just copy and paste the command so I don't take too long. So for this guy, we are going to be using, actually, let's go ahead and type this, the line in file module for Ansible. And what this one does is that it will let you, get into files, add text to the file, remove text from the file, find text in the file, and stuff like that. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in here. So what I'm saying here is that the path, basically where the file is, the state is present. So I want to add this, right? The reg is going to be to look for this, right? And when it finds that in this file, it is going to add this line to the file, right? And then it's going to validate it to make sure that we did it correctly for the sudoers file. All right. Let's see. Now we're going to add another task over here. And for this one, it's going to be name. Let's say we are going to create a new user and add user with or add a user to sudo group, so it has access to run anything as a root, right, or as an administrator. So I have it here. So now again, we are going to be using the user module for this one. So user, and now what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to copy over here. Paste that in here. So this user module basically allows you to create and delete users or modify users. So in here, what I'm saying is I am creating a new user, and how do I want to name this user? Well, I want to name this user with the variable new user, which means that we are using El Jefe. So we are naming the user El Jefe over here. The state is present, meaning I want to add a new one. I want to add this user El Jefe to the sudo group, append true, and create home also to true. The next thing I want to do is to set the authorized key for remote user. So let's go ahead and go back. So in here, let's just go to another task. And this task is going to be to, let's just say, add authorized key for El Jefe. Right, so basically I'm going to be copying my public key, right, my local public key to that remote server, so that way whenever I remote with El Jefe user later on after it's configured, it is going to allow me to SSH with password, right? We're not going to use a password. We are going to use my SSH key to log in to the server. Okay, so El Jefe. So now in here we are going to be running, let me go ahead and just copy and paste it, otherwise I will be typing here forever. There we go. So the Ansible, this one needs to be right here, making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Oh, this one needs to be here, so that was correct. There we go. Ansible, the user, right, that we're going to be adding the key is going to be for the El Jefe user present, right? And then where is my key located? My public key is in my home, right, location right here. ID underscore RSA pub. Okay, what else we got? Then next we are going to be disabling password for the we are going to disable password authentication for the root user, because that is a security recommendation to do that. So we are going to say name over here. We're going to disable password auth for root. All right, so how do we do that? Really easy. We are going to be using the inline module again. So the inline is going to go into the SSH config. It's going to be looking for this the permit rule login, yes, and it's going to replace it with permit rule login to no, right? Really straightforward. What else we got? So now we are going to be disabling clear text password. So disable clear, or let's say that disable password auth over SSH. I don't want any of my users to be able to authenticate with the password over SSH. I'm only allowing the keys, right? So let's go over here. So again, we are doing the inline file. We are locating this SSHD file. We are saying that it's present, right? We are going to add it. We're not going to remove it. So I'm saying to look for this line, and when you find it, replace it with this text right here. All right, really straightforward. The next one, I'm just going to copy and paste. This one should be straightforward because what we're doing here is that we are going to stop and start SSH. So we're going to, restart SSH. So I'm saying the service. We're going to be using the service module. The name of the service that we're looking for is SSH, and the state that I want to do is to restart. So I want to restart SSH, basically. The next one that I want to do is I want to install curl. So let's go ahead and say name install let's see, install apt. What are we installing over here? Installing pkg. I'm going to install curl and UFW, which is the firewall. And for this, we're going to be going into the apt module. And in the apt module, I want to go into the pkg, right, the packages. And in the packages, the ones that I want to install is going to be curl, and the next one is going to be UFW, right? Then I want to say to the state, I want the latest and greatest, and then update cache equals to true. So that's going to update the cache. So basically do a sudo apt update. That's what I want to do. All right. So now I'm going to be creating a UFW rule. Like I said, UFW is a firewall. So we are going to say name UFW to allow SSH. All right. SSH, let's say connections. All right. So in here, we are going to be using the community .general .ufw. And here we are going to add a rule, which is to allow. And what do we want to allow here, guys? Well, we want to allow open SSH. All right. Then we are going to create another rule over here. And this other rule is to deny everything else. So we're only going to allow SSH traffic. So let's say UFW to deny everything rule. Okay, so again, we can even copy this one right here, and we just replace with the values that we want. Right. Oops, let's go ahead and go to, what did I do? Again, hit it again, the same key. There we go. So community, making sure I spell this correctly. I'm missing an M, of course. Do it look kind of funny? So community in general, UFW. So we are going to state over here is going to be enable. And the name is going to be, it's not going to be a name, it's going to be the default. And the default over here is going to be to deny. So denied everything else. So the only rule the only thing that we're allowing is OpenSSH. Everything else we are blocking, right? There's nothing else that we need to be running over here, making sure that everything is good. And it looks like everything is good. Let's go ahead and save this. So now what I want to do is I want to test my connection to this server. What's the IP of this server? It's this guy right here. Yada, yada, yada. So let's go ahead and go to my SSH. So SSH root. And I want to connect to this. And I want to add the fingerprint. Yes. Now the password is probably in here somewhere. There it is. Paste it. Making sure it works. Yes, it works. So we are good to go. So now let's go ahead and clear. And you can see that it's working now and then whenever we disable, to allow, disable SSH connection from the root user, which is right here. So disable passive authentication for root user. So we are disabling SSH authentication for the root user. So we are disabling the root user to be able to, SSH. All right, so that is great. I think we are good to go to run the playbook. Let me make sure that I copy my password because we are going to need it. So now here, what we need to do is you need to install Ansible. So right now I have Ansible version 2.16.7, all right? That's the version that I'm running. So now to run my playbook, you need to do Ansible playbook in here, and then you need to specify your host file with the -i. You specify host, and then you want to specify the user that you want to use to connect to the server, because Ansible uses SSH for everything. SSH. So I think SSH and it use Python and Bash to run the commands. So you need to be able to SSH and to have SSH open on your Ubuntu box if you want to use Ansible. And then we're going to specify K. -K means to ask me for a password. I want to enter a password because we are not using a key to log in. And then at the end, I'm going to be adding the playbook, which I forgot what was the name of the playbook. It was initial setup, the YAML. Okay, so initial setup. The YAML is going to ask me for the password. I'm going to paste it in here, and hopefully we don't have any errors. Let's see what happens. Okay, you can see that it's good to go. We are setting up the passwordless sudo. We created a new user. We authorized the key for a jefe, and we disable SSH authentication for root, and everything seems to be good. It looks like, so yeah, look at this, guys. Something to notice here. You can see green. When you see green, that means that it's already there, right? It didn't need to change everything, that it was good. But whenever you see yellow, is that it changed something. So you can see right here that we tried to install curl and UFW, but it was already installed, and that's why it gave me a green, and it gave me an OK instead of giving me a change. But for the rules, it didn't have any rules, so they changed the rules, and so the UFW to deny everything else rule was already in there. So good to go. So now let's see if we can see if we are able to still SSH to that server with the root password. And you can see right here that we have access denied now. Let me make sure that I got the correct password and I can try it again. Paste. Permission denied. Yep, you can see over here permission denied, permission denied. So now the way that we're going to be able to connect to this guy is going to be by using the user el jefe. Oh, actually, not like that. This one was going to run that again. So I want to SSH to it, right? El jefe. There we go, right in it, looking good, looking good. So now, if I want to do like who am I, good host name, you can see all that good stuff in here. And if you want to, I don't know, what can we verify? We can verify to see if we, let's say I want to see what's inside this file, right? We should have changed the permit root login from yes to no. I know it did it because we are unable to SSH with the root user. And you can see even password authentication, we set it to no. But if we scroll up, I think it should be here. There we go. Permit root login, it's set to no. So permit root login is set to no now. So that is great. So that one was changed. What else do we want to change? Also the password authentication. We saw that already. So that is good. Looks like everything is good. Oh, we can take a look at the sudoers too, to see if we added this line, no password. Cat. Oh, permission denied. Oops. I gotta change it. So cat. Let's do a sudo cat. There we go. And we see this line right here. Boom. Looking good. That's it. That's the one we added, right, from Ansible. So yeah, that's how you are able to use Ansible to automate an initial server setup on an Ubuntu. And this is on Ubuntu 22.04, and we use Ansible 2.16. That's 7, I believe. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Like always, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Getting into Ansible, really nice, really cool to use. I'll see you in the next one. Like always, bye bye.